Hello Stampers, my name is Linda Bedinger and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Denver, Colorado. And this is my new buddy Puccini. For those of you that didn't know, I gave myself this wonderful little kitten for Christmas, another heartbeat in the house. And he's proving to be a great companion and a big help in the craft room, I might add. He chases papers and ribbon and everything and occasionally has to be banned. But I wanted to show him. I think he will be debuting with me. I don't know if you can hear him, but he's just purring to beat the band right now. And he's just a wonderful companion. He's a little Balinese kitten, seal point, and he's hypoallergenic and he doesn't shed. Isn't that fun? And so I have for you today my December paper pumpkin alternatives. And I'll have to say that this kit was a challenge for me because I don't do cute. And I particularly don't do puns typically. So you will be interested to see what I've done with this kit. I made 5 cards. And actually, once I got into the swing of things, I could have kept going, but sort of ran out of time, realizing that we were in the last throes of December here, and I haven't showed you my kit. So let's just get started, and like I said, Puccini may help. Okay, this is the paper pumpkin this time. It's called Lots of Pun, December 2021. And this is what this kit is supposed to make, and it's making up 3 cards. This one that says hello with a banana and some glasses. This one, I'm sorry, that's the pits, is what it says, and it features these little cherries. And then this one is eggs and toast, and it says, I loaf you and you tell the best yolks. Definitely not my style. They give you a couple of alternatives here, but I have used the kit material quite differently. Let me tell you a little bit about what's in the kit. This is sort of all that's left of this brown envelope. I used everything. So here is what I did. I cut this envelope away and it has this bit of decoration on it here. There was this one, kind of in pool party, and then these red sort of watercolor dots. Then there's this beautiful Daffodil Delight with this pretty pastel stripe that matches the material in the card kit. This is one of the bases in Granny Apple Green with a little color wash piece here. Then this one is one with the Daffodil Delight base and this watercolor wash, the same as the inside of this envelope. And then there is this one, which is Pool Party with a gingham pattern on it here. And I made several of the cards using only the materials in the kit, and then I did a couple with extra cardstock, and then I did 1 or 2 kind of sort of off the reservation. So this is the stamp set that comes with this, and it's very hard to read. So what I did is I just stamped them all. So You Are Cherry Sweet, I'm Sorry, That's the Pits, a couple of happy faces and sad faces, one set that's a little bit larger and one set that's a little bit smaller. The cherries, the banana, there's a party hat, a pair of glasses, thought bubble, and there's lots of thought bubble pieces in this, a splatter, I Pick You, Thanks a Bunch, Celebrate, Go Bananas, Excited for You, I Loaf You, Let's Grow Mold Together, A Toast to Your Success, You Tell the Best Yolks, Have an Excellent Day, and Peel Better Soon. And I'm going to just give you an idea, especially for those of you that don't have a lot of supplies. This set is a gold mine. If you are willing to cut your stamps down, and I did that with particularly one here. Let me see if I can find it real quick here. Here it is. Is that the one? Puccini's found a dauber and he's chasing it all over my desk. Here it is. Okay. This one says, a toast to your success. And I just cut it apart, and now I have this one stamp that says, to your success. And that's the way I used it on my card. And you could use a toast to you on this one. There's also another you, I love you, and you could cut the you off here and use it with a toast to you. If you're willing to do that, you can just do I'm sorry, or I'm so sorry. So there's all different kinds of things you can do if you're willing to cut these things apart. Celebrate with an exclamation point is something you could use over and over again. Thanks a bunch is really pretty generic and can be used for all different kinds of things. This is the one I cut apart and just used the to your success. You can do all different kinds of things by pulling these things apart. You are the best. And so if, again, these stamp sets need to work for you. And so you can get quite a bit more variety if you're willing to do that. All right, so that's the stamp set. You also get this little card that has large red hearts and very tiny little red hearts, and these pool party dots and yellow dots. And I use some of everything. Then you get this linen thread, which I used a little bit, and you get your Stampin' Spot, which is in early espresso, so that beautiful dark rich brown. And then let's see, let me show you the individual pieces. I've taken my kit completely apart, and I've used actually quite a bit of it this time. There's this that pulls apart, and this can be used to feature something, and then this could be used separately to embellish a card. What I ended up doing is using, let's see, the egg. Yes, there's the egg. And what I did was I used my pencil and I went around the egg. I turned all of my eggs into flowers and didn't use them as eggs at all. And so I just went around and traced the outside of this on this piece of paper. Then I gave it a center. And this one, I stamped the egg, which is a much smaller piece that would fit inside here. And I both cut it close to where the brown edging is, and I cut a couple where I went inside this to make a much smaller, and I used mine as a flower. I also just fussy cut kind of in and out, in and out, in and out on a couple of these cherries to turn them into small red flowers. I did the same thing with the banana, and I just cut a couple of circles out of the banana and just made the edges kind of random so they turned into little yellow flowers. So that's what I did. Then there's this beautiful edging, and the way the packaging works, there's extra edging in between, so I cut all of them, so I got twice as much as they had anticipated. This is one of the banners. This is definitely one of the pieces, and these can all be layered together to give a kind of different look to the card bases. Just to give you an idea, if you did this card, it would be very easy to put a sentiment on a piece here, and then set this up to do something along the lines of this, to give you some different layering kinds of options. And they're different lengths, So you could set them up any number of different ways. Now you could also flag those ends and turn them into little banners. And then there were these pieces, which is just these little tiny pieces that you could underline something with. And so they came in red and in brown. And the red is Poppy Parade. But you could even see taking something like this and setting this underneath it gives that a whole different kind of look. And to the extent that you want to mix and match some of the papers, now on these thought bubbles, and there's all kinds of labels that are these thought bubbles in a larger and a smaller size. I just cut the little thought bubble indicator off of here and just turned them into labels that I could use. Then there's also these two pieces, large and small vellum, and then there is also a vellum straight piece. I don't see it here. So easy to lose my vellum pieces, but I think I used one in the card. Then there was a hello, and then there was toast. Now I didn't use that, and if I were to use that, I'd probably turn it into a flower, or maybe a brown leaf or two. And so that is part of what I did in using this kit. So let me show you what I made. Like I said, I made 5, oh, there's my vellum strip. There we go. So there's that vellum strip as well. Okay, so the first one that I did is this one. And this was the inside of that envelope. This pattern didn't go all the way to the bottom, but it gave me kind of an interesting little color swash here. And then this stamp set had the splatters, so I used crumb cake and added to the splatters that were already here and put them around the card. This is one that I made thanks a bunch. Put 3 of the bananas here together, 1 flat on the card and 2 raised. So this is, I did all of mine on white bases. So these are basic white bases, 8.5 by 5.5, scored and folded at 4 1/4. Then I used the Granny apple green backing here, cut that down to 4 by 5 1/4. And then cut this piece 3 3/4 by 5 to give myself that layering look. And here's how I used that label that was there. Then the thought bubble, underlined it with the little brown scallop and put a bow on it here and a heart. Then on the inside, I used my stamp to stamp a couple of those bananas and then use some of the strips and some of the splatters, and that is my card number 1. Card number 2, I used the yellow base, card base that is from the kit, cut that down to 4 by 5 1/4, used the splatters. Now in this case, I cut down the, or I just added some lines to make a white flower. This is where I used the where I used the red flowers from the cherries and one from the banana. And then on those cherries, there is a couple of leaves right at the top of the cherries. And this is where I've cut mine off and used them here on my card and just put small dimensionals underneath. This was also a brown label that was in there. This piece and here, and then I used a big piece of vellum and my hello. And I'm really pleased with the way that one came out. So on the inside, I used some strips, some of the yellow cardstock, and a little bit of the flower I made from the cherry and one of those tiny little hearts. And that is my card number 2. Next one I have is also a flower card, and it's this one, using that one splatter that we were looking at, 3 by 5, 3 3/4 by 5. Then I used the pool party card to make this piece 4 by 5 1/4. My white base is 8.5 by 5.5 scored and folded at 4 1/4. So I used a white egg and I just rimmed it in Pool Party with my blend. Then I took these flowers here and put it on the inside of that envelope flap, the top of that flap, and I cut out these flowers, gave it a center, added these pieces, and I used our little flower punch, and I punched some flowers from this same material, and I did some with the granny apple so that it would match the card. And here's one of those little flowers I made out of the stamp, where I then colored that Pool Party and fussy cut all of the lines away so it made a smaller flower. And on the inside, I used many of those same elements just to add a little decoration. So that is my card number 3. This is where I cut that stamp set apart and just put "to your success." This one was fun. I took a piece of, actually took a much larger piece, so a 4 1/4 by 5.5 piece of white, the basic white, and I stamped the cherries, the bananas, the eggs, the little hearts in between, and then put the splatters in early espresso, and just made a little piece of designer series paper. And then I used the large piece of vellum, my hello, and I used one of the cherries on here and just added some strips of paper for interest down here to bring all of the colors together. And then on the inside, I took a piece of that Pool Party, a piece of that paper that I cut away from here, and just put a few of those hearts on the inside. But I love the way this paper came out. I'm really kind of pleased with that. That would be a fun one to do for spring that just says "Happy Spring" or something like that. That is my card number 4. This one is my card number 5, and I used that piece that they gave us that had the blue gingham outline, and I cut out the piece in the middle, raised my cherries, added some more cherries here. Now this is the one time I went outside the stamp set to get a stamp, and I used Lovely You and used the smile. And then I put a heart on it there and put 3 of those blue gems that they gave you here, added the paper from the inside of the envelope, and just to create some interest and some color here, brought in the brown. I thought it balanced it and added something a little different. I misstamped on this cherry, and you see what I did. I made it look like there were more cherries. I just colored and re-stamped it where it was supposed to be, and then filled in to make it look like it had multiple leaves and multiple cherries by just coloring in. So that's what I did there. And on the inside, simply, I just put some Pool Party and another piece of this red paper there, and I think that pulls it all together. So there you have it. There is my alternatives for the December paper pumpkin. Now, it's still December for a day or so more. This will go up on Friday, which I think is the 31st, so last day of the year. My prize draw for the month of December is a $60 shopping spree on me. Customers really seem to like that shopping spree, so I think I'm going to keep that for January as well. So my prize draw for both December and for January is the $60 shopping spree on me, and you get yourself in the drawing by placing an order of any size on my store, lbedinger.stampinup.net, and you can get to it through my blog, www.ingenuity.com. So that is it for me. Now, there's a wonderful join offer coming with the new catalogs, and the new catalogs go live. The old catalogs are good through January 3rd, and then the new catalog goes live on January 4th. In that catalog, in the Sale-A-Bration, is the join offer for Sale-A-Bration, which is in January and February. And the join offer is the $125 worth of product for $99, and then you get 2 more stamp sets. So I'll be talking more about the detail for that. So if you've been thinking about becoming a demonstrator or joining my team, that would be a great time to do it. And that offer is going to be in January and February. That is it for me. I hope you have a wonderful new year. Thank you all so much for all of your kind words, for your Merry Christmases, your Happy New Years, your prayers. I can tell you that it was rough. It was a very, very difficult time. Made a little bit easier by having my family here, which was just wonderful. And they lifted my spirits just tremendously. And then my little buddy here, who has joined me, and he's a big help. Laughter has returned to my house as a result of him being here, and he is just a love. He's a big cuddler, so we spend a lot of time curled up together, and he's a little purr machine. So thanks ever so much for stopping by my YouTube channel today, and we'll see you soon. I'll be back with more projects, more tips, and more cards, and a little bit more Puccini for everybody. Thanks very much. Bye-bye now.